Desperation in the void. The alien child, Lorak, huddled against his mother, Cora, as their shuttle drifted through the cold, endless void of space. The hum of failing systems and the ominous crackle of the damaged hull were the only sounds accompanying their despair. Once, their shuttle had been a beacon of hope, a lifeboat that carried them away from the burning ruins of their homeworld, Zyria. Now, it was a coffin in waiting. The ruthless Krillex, a race of brutal insectoids, had unleashed devastation on Zyria, leaving cities in smoldering ruins and its people scattered or dead. Cora had witnessed unimaginable horrors as the invaders tore through their world, slaughtering anyone who resisted. She had managed to escape with her family, but at a steep cost. Zeril, her mate, and Lorak's father, had taken a piece of shrapnel to his abdomen during their desperate flight. His breathing was shallow, and his lifeblood pooled beneath him, staining the metallic floor a deep blue. "Mom, will Dad be okay?" Lorak's voice trembled, his wide amber eyes glistening with tears. He was young, barely old enough to understand the complexities of war, but old enough to feel the weight of loss. Cora's heart ached as she tried to muster a reassuring smile, though her voice betrayed her fear. "Your father is strong," she whispered, brushing a hand over his soft, silver hair. "The humans are coming. They'll help us." The humans, an unfamiliar name in their galaxy, but one that carried a glimmer of hope. Their distress signal had been ignored by every other species they called out to. The pacifist lion refused to get involved. The opportunistic Auric cared only for their trade routes, and the technologically advanced Binar dismissed them as a low-priority incident. Cora had cried out to the void, begging for someone, anyone, to help. Only the humans had answered. "They said they're on their way," she continued, more to reassure herself than her son. "We just have to hold on a little longer." But time was running out. The shuttle's life support systems were failing, the air thinning with every passing minute. The Krillex weren't far behind. A massive warship had picked up their trail and was closing in. Its dark silhouette loomed in the distance, a predator stalking its prey. Cora could feel the icy grip of dread tightening around her. The shuttle's communications crackled, breaking the oppressive silence. "This is Captain Elias Carter of the UEN Resolute. We've received your distress call and are en route. Hold tight. ETA is 28 minutes. The human voice was steady, calm, and confident. It was the first voice in hours that didn't carry rejection or hostility. Cora clutched the console, her fingers trembling. "Captain Carter, please. My mate is injured, and our shuttle. It's barely holding together. The Krillex are almost upon us. We don't have 28 minutes. There was a pause, and Cora feared the worst. Then came the captain's reply, resolute and firm. "We'll make it. Do whatever you can to keep your systems running. We're coming for you." The humans' determination was palpable, but Cora knew the odds. Even if the humans arrived, what chance did their small ship stand against a Krillex warship? Yet there was something in Captain Carter's voice, a quiet defiance, a refusal to accept failure, that stirred a faint hope in her chest. The Krillex ship appeared on the shuttle sensors, its ominous form dominating the display. Cora's breath hitched as she saw its weapons systems powering up. "Mom, what's that?" Lorak asked, his voice barely a whisper. Cora knelt beside him, pulling him close. "It's nothing you need to worry about, my love," she said, though her eyes remained fixed on the display. In her mind, she was already calculating their final moments. The shields would fail within minutes, and then she wouldn't let Lorak see the end. Suddenly, Zeril stirred, his voice a faint rasp. "Cora, take Lorak and run." His eyes fluttered open, filled with pain, but also a fierce determination. "You can still escape in the pod." "No," Cora's voice broke. "We're not leaving you. The humans will come. They'll save us." Zeril's expression softened, but his eyes betrayed his doubt. "The humans. They're just stories. Cora, no one helps anyone anymore. The shuttle shuddered violently as a warning alarm blared. The Krillex had locked onto them. Cora wrapped her arms around Lorak, shielding him as best she could. She whispered soothing words into his ear, though tears streamed down her face. And then, like a miracle, a new blip appeared on the radar. Multiple blips. The humans had arrived. Not one, but 3 ships, their engines burning bright as they surged toward the Krillex warship. Over the comms, Captain Carter's voice rang out again, this time filled with resolve. "Hold on, Zorian shuttle. Reinforcements have arrived." Cora watched in stunned disbelief as the human ships began their assault. The Krillex were caught off guard, their shields taking hit after hit from the human fleet. The humans were vastly outgunned, but they fought with a ferocity that Cora had never seen before. They didn't hesitate, didn't falter. As the battle unfolded, Cora's hope grew stronger. Maybe, just maybe, humanity was as remarkable as the stories said. The humans arrive. The void of space erupted in flashes of light and explosions as the human ships engaged the Krillex warship. Cora stared at the scene unfolding on the shuttle's monitors, her disbelief mixed with a glimmer of hope. The humans were outmatched in size and firepower, yet they fought with unmatched ferocity and precision. Their sleek vessels danced through the Krillex's attacks, countering with daring maneuvers and calculated strikes. "This is Captain Carter of the UEN Resolute," came the voice over the comms. "We've engaged the Krillex. Hold tight. We're clearing the way to extract you." Cora's heart pounded in her chest. These humans were risking everything for her family, complete strangers to them. She clenched her fists, willing herself to trust their words. The shuttle rocked as another Krillex blast glanced off its failing shields. The power systems flickered, and the life support stuttered, the air growing colder by the second. Cora tightened her grip on Lorak, who looked up at her with wide, tearful eyes. "Mom, are the humans really going to save us?" he asked, his voice trembling. Cora forced a smile and brushed a strand of his silver hair from his face. "Yes, sweetheart, they'll get us out of this. Just hold on a little longer." Her words were as much for herself as for him. The human fleet strikes back. On board the UEN Resolute, Captain Elias Carter analyzed the tactical display, his sharp eyes darting across the screen. The Krillex warship loomed large, its weapons targeting the humans with deadly precision. Lieutenant Harper, his trusted pilot, called out, "Shields at 62%, Captain. We can't take too many more direct hits." "Understood," Carter replied. His voice remained calm, steady. "Launch decoy drones and target their primary weapons array. We need to buy that family time." "Yes, sir," Harper said, her fingers flying over the controls. The Resolute released a swarm of drones, each equipped with jamming devices to confuse the Krillex targeting systems. The Krillex ship hesitated, its automated systems recalibrating to deal with the unexpected interference. Meanwhile, the human ships pressed their advantage, delivering precise strikes to the enemy's weaponry. Aboard the shuttle, Cora watched in awe as the humans executed their daring maneuvers. The Krillex seemed momentarily disoriented, their massive ship firing wildly at the decoy drones. Cora's comm panel buzzed, and Captain Carter's voice came through again. "Zorian shuttle, this is Captain Carter. Prepare for extraction. We're dispatching a boarding team to secure you and your family." Cora's breath caught in her throat. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Thank you so much." As if on cue, one of the human ships, sleek and silver, with Terran markings, approached the shuttle, docking with precision. The hatch hissed open, and 2 figures in bulky spacesuits stepped inside. The leader, a tall woman with a determined expression visible through her helmet's faceplate, removed her helmet and spoke. "I'm Lieutenant Avery from the UEN Resolute. We're here to get you to safety." Cora hesitated for a moment, clutching Lorak close. "Can you help my mate? He's badly injured." Lieutenant Avery nodded, motioning to her partner. We'll stabilize him. Dr. Torres is standing by on the Resolute to provide medical care. The humans worked quickly, their movements efficient and precise. One of them knelt beside Cyril, administering a portable medkit that seemed far more advanced than anything Cora had seen before. Vitals are weak but stable, the medic reported. We need to move him now. Cora watched in awe as the humans gently but swiftly carried Cyril onto a stretcher, securing him for transport. They treated her mate with the same care and respect they would have shown one of their own. The Krill X counterattack. As the humans escorted Cora and Lorek onto their ship, the Krill X warship roared back into action. Its systems, finally free of the decoy drone's interference, locked onto the UEN Resolute. The massive enemy ship unleashed a volley of plasma bolts, one of which struck dangerously close to the docking bay. The shockwave sent Cora sprawling, clutching Lorak tightly as alarms blared. Lieutenant Avery steadied her and shouted over the chaos, "We need to go. Now." The docking bay doors sealed just as another blast rocked the Resolute. Harper's voice crackled over the intercom. "Captain, the Krill X are targeting our engines. We can't take much more of this." "Understood," Carter replied, his voice still calm but urgent. "Plot a course for the nearest jump point. Let's get them out of here." Escape and resolve. The UEN Resolute disengaged from the Krill X ship, its engines burning brightly as it accelerated toward the jump point. Harper navigated through a treacherous asteroid field, using the debris as cover to evade the enemy's weapons. In the medbay, Cora stood by Cyril's side as Dr. Elena Torres worked tirelessly to stabilize him. The human doctor's hands moved with precision and care, her expression focused. "He's responding well to treatment," Torres said, offering Cora a reassuring smile. "He'll need more care, but he's going to make it." Tears filled Cora's eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for saving us." Torres placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "It's what we do." Hope renewed. As the Resolute made its escape, Cora found herself marveling at the humans' courage and determination. They had risked their lives for her family without hesitation, standing against a far superior enemy simply because it was the right thing to do. Lorek tugged at her hand, his wide eyes shining. "Mom, the humans are amazing," he said, his voice filled with awe. Cora smiled down at him, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Yes, my love, they truly are." In that moment, Cora realized that the humans weren't just rescuers. They were a symbol of hope in a galaxy that had grown cold and indifferent. They had shown her that even in the darkest times, compassion and courage could still prevail. And as the Resolute jumped to safety, leaving the Krill X far behind, Cora knew she would never forget the bravery of the humans who had saved her family. Krill X pursuit. As the UEN Resolute surged through the asteroid field, the tension on board was palpable. The Krill X warship, undeterred by the daring human maneuvers, followed closely, its massive bulk weaving through the debris like a predator stalking prey. Plasma bolts erupted from its cannons, carving through asteroids and leaving trails of destruction. Despite the chaos, Captain Elias Carter remained unshaken, his voice commanding and calm as he issued orders. "Lieutenant Harper, keep us in the densest part of the field," he said, his eyes locked on the tactical display. "If they want to follow us, make them pay for it." "Aye, Captain," Harper replied, her hands flying over the controls. The Resolute ducked and weaved between the tumbling rocks, its engines flaring as it pushed to evade the Krill X's relentless assault. Meanwhile, in the medbay, Cora sat beside Cyril, her hands trembling as she clutched his. Lorak stood by her side, his young face filled with a mixture of fear and wonder. Dr. Elena Torres worked diligently, monitoring Cyril's vitals and administering advanced human medicine to stabilize him. "Your mate is strong," Torres said, her voice kind but firm. "The bleeding has stopped, and his vitals are improving. He'll need rest, but he's going to make it." Cora's breath hitched as relief flooded her. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "You saved him. You saved us." Torres offered a small smile. "Thank me by staying strong. Your family needs you." Aboard the Krill X warship, on the bridge of the Krill X vessel, Commander Ralsrek watched the pursuit with cold, calculating eyes. The insectoid leader's mandibles clicked in irritation as the humans continued to evade their fire. "How are they outmaneuvering us?" Ralsrek hissed, his voice a low growl. An officer at the console responded, "The humans are exploiting the asteroid field, Commander. Their smaller size and agility give them an advantage." Ralsrek's eyes narrowed. "Enough of these games. Charge the obliterator cannon. Let's end this." The officer hesitated. "But, Commander, the cannon's energy blast could destabilize the field. We risk damaging our own ship." Ralsrek slammed a clawed hand onto the console. "Do it. I will not be humiliated by these mammals." The final maneuver. Back on the Resolute, Harper's voice rang out with urgency. "Captain, the Krill X are charging their obliterator cannon. If they fire, this whole field could go up." Captain Carter's jaw tightened. He glanced at the tactical display, noting the position of the asteroids and the Krill X vessel. "Harper, bring us around to the far side of the largest asteroid in the field. Use it as a shield." "But Captain, that puts us within direct line of fire for a few seconds," Harper warned. "I know," Carter said, his voice firm. "We'll have to time this perfectly. Prepare countermeasures and get the jump drive ready." The Resolute swung around, its engines roaring as it darted toward the massive asteroid. Behind them, the Krill X obliterator cannon glowed ominously, its energy building to catastrophic levels. Harper navigated with razor-sharp precision, positioning the Resolute behind the asteroid just as the cannon fired. A brilliant beam of destructive energy shot from the Krill X ship, tearing through the field. The massive asteroid absorbed the brunt of the blast, shattering into countless fragments. The Resolute rocked violently as the shockwave passed, but its shields held. "Jump drive ready, Captain," Harper called out. "Engage," Carter ordered. In a flash of light, the Resolute disappeared, leaving the Krill X warship behind amidst the chaos of the asteroid field. A moment to breathe. The jump brought the Resolute to a safe distance, far from the Krill X's reach. The crew let out collective sighs of relief as the alarms quieted and the tension began to ease. In the medbay, Cora looked out the small viewport at the stars streaking past, her heart finally beginning to steady. She turned to Lorak, who sat beside Zyril, watching him with wide, worried eyes. "Dad's going to be okay now, right?" Lorak asked softly. Cora knelt beside him, wrapping him in her arms. "Yes, my love. He's safe, thanks to the humans." Lorak looked up at her, his expression thoughtful. "Why did they help us, Mom?" "Nobody else did." Cora hesitated, glancing toward Dr. Torres, who had been silently listening. Torres met her gaze and answered the question herself. "Because that's what we do," Torres said. "Humans don't turn away from those in need, even if it's dangerous, even if it's hard." Lorak's eyes sparkled with admiration. "I want to be like them someday," he said. Captain Carter's reflection. On the bridge, Captain Carter sat back in his chair, his face lined with exhaustion, but also satisfaction. He glanced at the comms officer. "Any word from the fleet? Did the other ships make it?" "Yes, Captain," the officer replied. "The fleet is regrouping at the rendezvous point. The Krill X didn't follow." Carter nodded, then activated the ship-wide comms. "This is the captain. I want to commend every member of this crew for your bravery and dedication. Today, we didn't just save lives. We proved what humanity stands for. Rest up. You've earned it." A new bond forms. As the Resolute cruised toward the rendezvous point, Cora sought out Captain Carter. She found him in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. "Captain," she began, her voice soft, "I wanted to thank you for everything. You didn't have to help us, but you did. You risked your lives for us." Carter turned, offering a small smile. It's what we believe in. No one gets left behind. Quora nodded, emotion welling up in her chest. Your bravery saved my family. I won't forget it. Carter studied her for a moment. You've got a strong spirit, Quora. That's what's going to help rebuild your world. If humanity can help, we will. For the first time in what felt like forever, Quora felt a spark of hope. Perhaps the galaxy wasn't as cold and indifferent as it had seemed. Perhaps there was still a chance for unity, driven by the courage and compassion of one remarkable species, humanity. Rendezvous with hope. The Resolute cruised silently through the serene vastness of space, its battered hull a testament to the ferocity of the battle they had just escaped. Quora sat by Zeryl's bedside in the medbay, her hand resting gently on his. His breathing was steady now, the color slowly returning to his skin. Lorak was curled up nearby, finally succumbing to the exhaustion of the ordeal, his tiny form wrapped in a blanket provided by the humans. Dr. Torres checked Zeryl's vitals one last time and smiled. He's stable and responding well to treatment. We're going to keep him under observation for now, but he's on the mend. Quora felt an overwhelming sense of relief, a wave of emotion that threatened to bring tears to her eyes. Thank you, Doctor. I don't know how we'll ever repay you for what you've done. Torres waved a hand dismissively. No repayment needed. Helping people, that's what we do. Besides, she added with a grin, your mate's resilience made my job easier. As Torres left the medbay, Quora leaned over to Zeryl, whispering softly, we're safe now. The humans saved us. The human spirit. On the bridge, Captain Carter was reviewing the tactical logs of the battle. Lieutenant Harper approached, a cup of steaming liquid in hand. Captain, you've been up for 36 hours. Drink this. You need it. Carter smirked and took the cup. Thanks, Harper. You did good out there. That maneuver through the asteroid field. That was gutsy. Just doing my job, Harper replied, though her pride was evident. The crew's wondering, though, why did we go to such lengths? It's not like we've got a surplus of resources, and taking on the Krillex isn't exactly a safe bet. Carter leaned back in his chair, his gaze distant. Because it's who we are. If we start ignoring cries for help, we lose the very thing that makes us human. The galaxy's full of cold, indifferent species, Harper. But we're not like them. Not yet. Harper nodded thoughtfully. Well, you've got the crew's loyalty, Captain. No one's questioning that. The Galactic Council's message. As the Resolute approached the rendezvous point, a message came through from the United Earth Navy's command. Carter watched as Admiral Langford's stern face appeared on the monitor. Captain Carter, we've received reports of your encounter with the Krillex and your successful extraction of the Zorian refugees. I commend you and your crew for your bravery. Carter inclined his head. Thank you, Admiral. It wasn't just bravery. It was the right thing to do. Langford's expression softened slightly. I agree. The galaxy is watching us, Captain. Humanity is still new to the interstellar stage, and actions like yours will define how we're remembered. However, she added with a note of caution, the Krillex will not take this lightly. They're a ruthless enemy, and you've made them look weak. We'll be ready, Admiral, Carter said firmly. But we can't back down. If we let fear dictate our actions, we lose. Langford nodded. Understood. Proceed to the Council Station. Representatives from other species want to meet the Zorians and discuss next steps. This could be the start of something bigger. Arrival at the Council Station. The Council Station came into view, a sprawling multi-species hub orbiting a distant, uninhabited planet. Ships of every size and shape floated around the station, their designs as varied as the species they represented. The Resolute docked smoothly, and Quora, Lorak, and a still-recovering Zeryl were escorted to the station's central chamber. Inside, the chamber buzzed with activity. Delegates from dozens of species filled the room, their voices a cacophony of languages. At the center stood a podium where Captain Carter addressed the assembly. Members of the Galactic Council, he began, his voice carrying a quiet authority. We're here today because of a choice to act when others turned away. Humanity responded to the Zorians' call for help, not because we had to, but because we chose to. And now we face a greater question. Will we, as a galaxy, continue to turn away from those in need? Or will we stand together? Quora listened intently, her heart swelling with gratitude. The humans weren't just saviors. They were advocates for something greater, a vision of unity that had seemed impossible before. A divided response. As Carter finished, the chamber erupted into debate. Some species, like the pacifist lion, argued against involvement, citing the dangers of provoking the Krillex. Others, like the Auric, questioned humanity's motives, suspicious of their rapid rise on the galactic stage. But then, a surprising voice cut through the noise. A Ventari delegate, known for their neutrality, stepped forward. The humans' actions have shown us that compassion is not a weakness. It is a strength. We cannot let fear dictate our choices. One by one, other species began to voice their agreement until the room reached a tentative consensus. A coalition would be formed, led by humanity, to counter the Krillex threat and provide aid to those in need. A new mission. After the meeting, Carter found Quora and her family in the station's observation deck, gazing out at the stars. Lorak was animatedly recounting the humans' daring rescue to Zerl, who listened with a weak but genuine smile. "You've inspired something big," Quora said as Carter approached. "The galaxy is finally waking up." Carter nodded. "It's a start, but there's a long road ahead." Quora turned to him, her expression resolute. "We want to help. The Zorian people may be scattered, but we're not broken. With your help, we'll rebuild, and we'll stand with you." Carter smiled. "You've got a strong spirit, Quora. Humanity could use allies like you." As the Resolute prepared to depart, Quora looked out at the vastness of space, a newfound hope burning in her chest. For the first time since the destruction of Zyria, the future didn't seem so bleak. Humanity had shown her that even in the darkest times, light could be found. And that light had the power to unite a galaxy. A fragile alliance. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with a cautious optimism in the days following humanity's bold declaration. While many species had agreed to join the coalition, others remained hesitant, their fear of the Krillex overshadowing their willingness to act. The humans had lit the spark, but the fire of unity was still fragile, vulnerable to the slightest gust of doubt or conflict. Aboard the UEN Resolute, Captain Carter sat in his quarters, poring over a map of the galaxy's contested sectors. Each flashing red point represented a world devastated by the Krillex, a grim reminder of the stakes they faced. His comm unit beeped, breaking his concentration. "Come in," he said, and the door slid open to reveal Lieutenant Harper. Her usual confident demeanor was tempered by concern. "Captain, the Zorian delegation wants to speak with you," she said. "They're asking to propose something unconventional." Carter raised an eyebrow. "Unconventional, huh? Let's hear it." The Zorian proposal. In the Resolute's conference room, Quora and Zerl stood side by side, with Lorak seated quietly beside them. Zerl's recovery was remarkable, though he leaned slightly on a cane for support. Despite his frailty, his eyes burned with determination. "Captain Carter," Zerl began, his voice steady, "your people saved my family when no one else would. We owe you our lives. But now we must do more than survive. We must fight back." Carter folded his arms, listening intently. "What are you suggesting?" Zerl exchanged a glance with Quora before continuing. "The Krillex have spread fear across the galaxy, but their strength lies in their belief that no one will resist them. We propose to change that." Quora stepped forward, her voice strong. "We've studied the Krillex for generations. We know their weaknesses, their blind spots. If we work together, we can strike a blow that will not only weaken them, but show the galaxy that they're not invincible." Carter considered their words. You're talking about a coordinated strike, targeting the Krillex directly. Exactly, Zyril said. We've identified a key supply hub they rely on. Disrupting it would cripple their operations in this sector. Harper, who had been silently observing, finally spoke. Captain, this could provoke them further. Are we ready for that kind of retaliation? Carter nodded slowly. It's a risk, but the Zorians are right. If we don't push back, the Krillex will only grow bolder. We'll take this to the Coalition. Rallying the Coalition. The Coalition's first official meeting took place aboard the Galactic Council station. Delegates from various species filled the vast chamber, their expressions ranging from hopeful to skeptical. Quora stood at the front with Captain Carter, Zyril, and a human tactician named Commander Rice. Esteemed members of the Coalition, Carter began, his voice carrying across the chamber. Today, we face a choice. The Krillex thrive on fear and division. But together, we have the power to change the course of this war. He gestured to Quora, who stepped forward with a holographic display of the proposed target. This is the Krillex supply hub on Clistra VI, she said. It's heavily fortified, but it's also their Achilles heel. Taking it out would not only disrupt their operations, but send a message to the galaxy. The Krillex can be defeated. A murmur rippled through the room. Some delegates whispered to each other, their doubt evident, while others nodded in approval. A Sindari representative rose, his voice sharp. This is a bold plan, but what guarantees do we have? If we fail, the retaliation could be catastrophic. Carter responded without hesitation. There are no guarantees in war, but if we do nothing, we're guaranteeing the Krillex victory. Humanity has faced impossible odds before, and we've prevailed. Together, we can do the same. Preparing for battle. The Coalition agreed to the plan, and preparations began immediately. On board the Resolute, the crew worked tirelessly to coordinate the strike. Ships from the Ventari, Auric, Sindari, and other species arrived, forming a diverse and unlikely fleet. In the days leading up to the mission, the crew found moments of quiet reflection. Quora sat with Lorek in the observation deck, pointing out the distant stars and telling him stories of their homeworld, Zyria. Do you think we'll ever go back? Lorek asked, his voice soft. Quora hesitated, her gaze distant. I hope so, my love. But even if we can't, we'll make a new home, somewhere safe. Lorek nodded, his youthful optimism shining through. With the humans, right? They'll help us. Quora smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude. Yes, with the humans. The Battle of Clistra VI. The Coalition fleet emerged from hyperspace near Clistra VI, the Krillex supply hub looming in the distance. The enemy defenses were formidable. Rows of heavy cannons, swarms of fighter drones, and a fleet of Krillex warships. It was a fortress designed to repel any attack. On the Resolute, Captain Carter stood on the bridge, his expression steely. All ships, this is Carter. Stick to the plan. We hit their shields first, then move in for the central station. Stay sharp, and may luck be on our side. The battle began with a coordinated assault. The Coalition's ships weaved through enemy fire, their diverse technologies complementing each other in unexpected ways. Ventari cruisers provided cover with their agility. Auric shielding technology absorbed heavy hits, and Sindari beam cannons delivered devastating strikes. The Resolute led the charge, targeting the shield generators with pinpoint accuracy. Harper's hands flew over the controls as she maneuvered the ship through waves of enemy fighters. Shields at 45%, Harper reported. We're taking heavy fire. Keep us steady, Carter said. We're almost there. Quora and Zyril, now part of the ground team, prepared for their role in the operation. As the Resolute provided cover, they and a squad of human and Zorian soldiers deployed to the surface. Their mission: sabotage the station's core and disable its defenses. A victory hard fought. The ground team faced fierce resistance, but Quora's knowledge of Krillex tactics proved invaluable. She led the team through the labyrinthine corridors of the station, avoiding patrols and disabling traps. Zeril, despite his injury, provided crucial support, using his engineering expertise to breach the station's core. As the team planted explosives, the Krill X reinforcements closed in. "We've got company," one of the human soldiers shouted. Cora's heart pounded as she took up a weapon, firing alongside the humans to hold the line. Just as it seemed they would be overwhelmed, the explosives detonated, sending shockwaves through the station. The Krill X defenses faltered, and the coalition fleet pressed their advantage, forcing the enemy into retreat. The battle was won, but the cost was heavy. Ships were lost, lives sacrificed. Yet, as the coalition fleet regrouped, there was a sense of triumph. They had struck a blow against the Krill X, proving that unity was their greatest weapon. The aftermath. Back aboard the Resolute, Cora stood with Carter on the observation deck, looking out at the remnants of the battle. "We did it," she said softly. "We proved it's possible." Carter nodded, his expression thoughtful. "This is just the beginning. The Krill X won't stop, but now they know we won't either." Cora turned to him, her eyes filled with determination. "We'll fight with you, Captain, whatever it takes." Carter smiled. "Welcome to the fight, Cora. Together, we'll show the galaxy what we're capable of." And as the coalition began to regroup and rebuild, the spark of hope ignited by humanity burned brighter than ever, lighting the way for a galaxy united against tyranny.